Same old, just in the gym, training, fighting. I've been fighting a lot in Mexico.
Yep.
I have a boy down there who throws some shows, and he's been putting me on. So staying busy. And honestly, the last year, been getting some pretty serious offers from the states. So like, I simultaneously feel very far from the end goal, but at the same time, like it feels like it's right there.
Hmm. But why does it feel far?
Maybe just to keep me. I like feeling like it's far. It's
Hmm.
far because I always have a lot of work to do, and I think maybe my vision. I have a vision, and I have earthly visions. Like I have this idea, this goal of becoming the best, and I think being the best is something that's maybe sort of elusive.
Hmm.
It's a thing that you're always kind of chasing. But then I have earthly dreams and a vision of setting up my life through boxing, and I just feel like that call is it's around the corner.
Well, you have a lot of support and a lot of people believing in you. So
For real, yeah.
I know I'm in New Zealand, but I'm just like, I'm always checking like your Insta and stuff. Like looking at updates, I'm like, yes, he's got to fight. Yes. You know, when you post things and stuff, even with clients, it
Yeah,
feels good.
yeah,
You see your people doing
yeah.
it, yeah, working.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm so proud of you. Have you seen Alex in a while or not really?
Indeed, twice a week for the last 6 years. Yeah, I got
Really?
nonstop since we last. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. You haven't stopped.
I just trained with him yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh, I gave
Yeah.
him a quick call, but you know the time zone, so it's kind of rough, but that's okay.
I'll tell him you say what up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, if you ever fight in Japan, you,
Well, honestly, I feel like that could be one of the calls. Like all the little guys are over there, and
mm,
boxing is huge in Japan. So
mm,
I kind of feel like that could be one of the big calls. Right now, a lot of them are just in the states,
mm-hmm.
but again, a lot of the little guys are over Japan. So I feel like that could be very likely.
Yeah, hit me up. Be like, yeah,
Oh
I'm in
yeah.
Japan. I'd
Well,
love
maybe
to
I'll even
watch.
just come for like a training camp, plan like a 2 week little camp down there, and get some sparring in with the gym or something, and then yeah, we'll do something.
I'd be curious. I'd be curious to hear their style and your style, and like their way of thinking, like in comparison to your style of training, and how that differs. Very interesting because I notice, especially coming to Japan, I really do think I really do think like the mentality of the people and the culture and the philosophies and stuff like that of that country and area, it are like influence the sport
Oh yeah,
very
they're
much
very
so.
focused.
Yeah.
They're very focused. They exemplify what boxing is about. They're very
Mm.
focused. They're disciplined. They're humble, and they win. Like they get results. Like
Mm.
there's science behind their methods, and yeah, there is like a sort of style. Like I don't know, maybe I just haven't been in the game long enough to really put my thumb on it. But there
Mm.
is like there's a growing understanding of a Japanese style. But I don't
Hmm.
know. I can't put my thumb on it. But yeah.
It's interesting. So you say like exemplify boxing. So what like how do you what does that mean, and then how do you exemplify boxing yourself, or how do you try to?
Well, those key attributes of what you need to be a successful fighter or just really anything in life, but they just I guess come across as a focused, humble, disciplined people. So like that just sort of comes across from them generally. So it's like yeah, in a sport where you need to be like that, they're already ahead of the you know what I mean. They're already ahead of the curve. They already have those qualities. So all it takes is the commitment and putting the time in, and yeah,
Mm.
you're gonna get champions.
So it's interesting you say humble, because how does that's something in sport that's really interesting to me psychologically. It's that fine line between being super confident and even having like being arrogant at times. Like you have to like pull from certain pockets of yourself, but then also
Yeah,
being humble,
yeah,
and having that humility. And that's just something. And to me, you're incredibly like you have a lot of humility as well, but you're a killer. Um, and
that's
yeah, and so like I find that dynamic interesting. Like, do you have any thoughts around that or the humility aspect?
I think humility takes you to places where that's overt confidence that borderline cockiness maybe doesn't.
Hmm.
I think it also prevents you from tripping yourself up. I think you can get too caught up in yourself and believe. We say it all the time, cliche, believe your own hype. I think that again, there needs to be an air of like something, right, to be to be any at that top level, to know that you're the top guy, top girl. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think humility and being humble saves you from getting caught up in that.
I
Just
like how you.
remembering that, as much as you do kind of need a bit of that grandiose and almost self-deluded, you need to have that for sure. But you're still competing against another. You're just a human.
Mm,
Yes, you gotta remember that.
I like how you phrase that. You're quite eloquent and like creative.
I'm a thinker. I'm in my head a lot in a good way.
Mm,
High school I read a lot, but
mm,
I find peace in here, and I think that's why I've just gotten so deep into a sport like this, because that is it. You have to be your own best friend. You have to know all the nooks and crannies of what's inside you. You can't lie. Just can't lie.
hmm. Wait, what do you mean you found peace inside? Because normally you hear people say the opposite. It's like a storm in here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what do you mean by that?
I mean, I can draw peace from things outside too. Like I just got back from one of my favorite parks. Like it's one of my favorite things to do. But at the same time, like I can I can be anywhere, and just as long as I know that I can just kind of withdraw myself, I don't know. There's comfort in it. I think
Hmm.
I know myself. I know what I like, what I don't like, what makes me upset. I know those
Hmm.
things. So there's no surprises in my. I'm not surprising myself. I
Hmm.
guess yeah, it's clarity.
Hmm.
I know how to be my own best friend. Like growing up, like where I lived, there weren't a lot of like neighborhood kids, so it was just kind of had to come up with stuff on my own a lot, and yeah, but there's a comfort in it.
Right, right. And how does that? That's really interesting because I think who we are, we bring that to the ring, or we bring that to the field, we bring that to the court. So how does that influence your game? You think?
I don't think it influenced my game as much as it just influences how I go about my day, go about my schedule, go about my routine. Like
Mm,
I I I like being a leader. So in my class setting, when I'm teaching class, or in my one-on-one client setting, like that to me is the sort of that's enough socializing for me. Like I'm happy to just all the things that are fun or relaxing. Those things can be on my own. Like
mm,
I don't need to find that anywhere else. It just allows me to stay focused.
right, right.
Yeah, it allows me to stay locked in. It allows me to stay focused. I don't remember the last time I took more than the usual rest day or a couple rest days. I don't get injured. I don't take time off. Like I'm up. This is all I do.
I respect that. I like that. You figured yourself out.
Yeah, and I appreciate hearing that, because I think that's what it came down to. There, for a while, I just years ago, it was that just not knowing where to go, not really having the direction, the vision, and then being okay with mastering one thing. Just put it all in. Put it
Mm,
all in. Master one to be okay with mastering one thing.
That's special though, because I think, because I speak with a lot of like high school athletes, right? And I think it's so hard to navigate when you're young because we don't
Wow.
know ourselves, and that takes time.
Testing. You gotta be tested.
Mm,
That's why a sport like boxing, it attracts youth that are tested from a young age. Have to go through those things, have to figure themselves out. It attracts that. But
mm,
there's a, and I think for young men, there's a purpose it gives us that you can find in sport, but it's something different. It's just something different. That relationship with fear, I guess. That
mm,
relationship with fear in combat sport is different than
mm.
the fear and rage. There's still that performance anxiety, things like that, but the raw fear of what might happen is different.
Yeah, I was actually wanted you to touch on that a little bit because it's just so beautiful to me, the consequences. the consequences. And could you elaborate that on that a little bit, like your take and your perspective? Because I'm not a fighter, you know, so I don't know what it's like to be in the ring.
It really is that your relationship with fear, and just that's how I pinged one of your videos just so I could remember it. But before we hopped on, and you were talking about fearlessness, and you were saying how it's not fearlessness when you're afraid. It's the courage. That's that's exactly it. That's
Mm.
I was talking to my coach about this recently too. Like you're not you're not bad or gonna do poorly or not it because you feel if you're supposed to feel. It's not like some guys are just cold. They are. Like we're fooling ourselves if we're saying those guys don't exist. There are some dudes that are just cold like that, but
Mm.
most of us are gonna feel that, and it's not feeling it does not mean it's like this. It's just how you respond to it. How are you going to use it? Are
Mm.
you going to listen to it? Are you going to let it? You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
that it's a driver. It's a motivator. But
Mm.
it can be your worst enemy if you let it tell you what to do. Something I saw too. It's the fear of fear. If you're afraid of being afraid, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to get anything done.
Mm.
But once you stop being afraid of fear, you're going to feel it. You're going to face it. Once you stop being afraid of it, deal with it. Like, it just becomes such a you almost look forward to it because it's like you're reminded of what you're doing. To
Mm.
me, it's like I get worried when it doesn't kick in around the times it's supposed to kick in because then
Mm.
it's like, what am I doing? What am I doing if that feeling isn't if that when that feeling is there? I know what my job is. I know okay, it's time like that. Okay, that thing's there. Yeah, okay, I know what time it is. This is regular, it's routine. But if I'm flat, then it's like, whoa, like, where's my friend?
Mm.
Where's that tickle? That it becomes a thing that you look for. So again, it's that it is ultimately the relationship with fear, not this getting rid of it or whatever. It's just your relationship with
I love that. Where is it? Where'd you go, bro? I love that. Um, and sorry, I'm just looking over at my notes. Like so many people are like whether we do boxing or not. It's something about boxing or like martial arts. It's so enticing. I think
yeah.
we naturally gravitate towards it. Not everybody. Not everybody. Some people are like ah, but
I know what you mean. I know what you
yeah, and could you explain to me a little bit of the fighter's mentality? Could you from a fighter yourself?
I think it's sort of in what we've been saying here, like it is that relationship with fear. I think that's when people talk about the fighter's mentality, I think they are referring to the relationship with fear. Like you might it's the drive to win, the this and so well yeah that's athletics, right? That's sports. You gotta have the drive to win. But fighting, as a combat athlete, it's I think your relationship with fear because it is a fear that's just not felt in anything else. You don't feel the same fear in other
Mm.
competition or you could even say public speaking. Public speaking is terrifying, but it's a different fear, right? In some way, maybe even worse, but it's still a different type of fear. So it's just fighter's mentality is personally I think the relationship with fear, but I think another popular opinion is this overcoming adversity. That
Hmm.
that that surety you have, that confidence you have that you're going to face adversity, but you're gonna overcome. It's not that I'm a cold killer, I'm gonna stop this guy like that. I'm gonna do no, it's adversity is coming and I'm prepared. That's I think
Hmm.
another opinion.
I love that. That's so awesome. And how you say like different types of fear?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really cool. I've never really thought about it in that way. And I wonder too if I like. Look, I'm not comparing myself. Okay, I'm not comparing myself. Okay,
You're a killer, man. Come
but
on, stop playing.
I appreciate
You're
that.
a killer.
I appreciate that. But I do wonder if like there's no way of knowing, but I do wonder if I've felt or have experienced glimpses of that at certain like moments on the field. Because I don't play a combat sport, like, and I do play a sport.
No,
Um,
but your sport is very physical.
yeah, it's
Very
very
physical.
it's very physical, but I wonder if there are elements of that. I always wonder, but because actually, when I was 9, I was like, oh, I either want to do boxing or play American football.
Oh no way.
So I was already like I was gravitating towards, sort of physical sport.
Yeah,
But then I just sort of fell in love with football right away once I joined like a camp of practice, and so I'm like, that's okay, I can do without boxing. But
pick
um,
later.
but yeah, it's funny like to think, oh, maybe I would have, if I had done like a boxing session first, maybe I would have really fell in love with,
You never know. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
you
It's one of
never know,
those.
yeah. And also, um, decision making and adaptability in
Yes,
the
yes,
ring.
yes.
That's
Absolutely.
so fascinating to me because I don't know if I'm not entirely sure if people quite understand just in sport in general, and I don't mean to say boxing is sport, but just to blanket term it.
It is, no, yeah, of course. No, I
But
get you. I get you. Agree.
but sport in general, really at the high levels, it's all decision making. That's what it
Absolutely.
is. It's decision
Yeah.
making with your body and with your mind too. Um,
Yes.
so in a sport like boxing, like adaptability and decision making, that's so amazing and something that I really respect. Could you kind of, I don't have a specific question, but could you kind of elaborate that and kind of give me your take a little bit or some insight?
Well, yeah. It's decision making under the most extreme circumstances. You are angry, afraid, in pain, tired, thirsty. You're all of the things that would otherwise encourage maybe not a bad decision, but the decision for ease or comfort. But you're in a fight, so you're gonna have to make hard decisions, and they better be the right one.
Mm.
Otherwise, you're hitting the canvas or you're losing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's life is the confidence you have in your decisions and all that. But boxing, it's just can you do it in those circumstances? Can you do it when it just there's no hope? It just feels like there's no hope, and you just think it's not going to do anything, or you're too tired, you can't. So it's it. You have to become something greater than yourself.
Hmm.
Like we're all, honestly, we're all capable of getting in there and doing it. We are. Like how well we do it, that's another question. But we're all capable of doing it. But being successful, winning, overcoming adversity, digging, all those things that require you to kind of you gotta become something greater. So you gotta just you gotta put all the questions and the doubts aside, and you have to become something greater.
Hmm.
Hope I stayed on track. I think I went off a little
No,
bit
no,
there.
no, no. No. You're allowed to go. No, no, no. You're allowed to go off. That's okay. Um, how you speak, I love how you speak because I can tell in your no, I can tell in your eyes. Like I can feel it. You know, I can feel your life when you speak. You're
Cool,
not.
cool, cool.
You're not like
I'm trying to draw from something real,
Yes,
I'm trying to draw from a
yes,
real place.
yes. Thank you. You're my little summarizer.
Gotcha.
No, I love that. Like you have to become something greater. Um, that's beautiful. And also something about boxing that's really cool is that it's incredibly creative.
Yeah,
At least I think. Um,
yeah.
and it seems like to be like you over time you kind of develop your own style, and that comes with creativity. I'm sure life experience, like facing many different people. That's some
Absolutely,
yeah, that's
absolutely.
something that's earned. Like, can you?
Yes, now you hit it on the head right there.
Yeah.
It's something that's earned. Your style is earned. You just it's like anything. You want to be successful at anything, no matter what it is.
Mm.
You still got to put the time in. Something like boxing, where it comes down to the reps and the attention to detail. Like have to just put the time.
And you know what? I was actually thinking the other day, like every time I go on the field and train when it's not practice, I'm getting to know myself just a little bit better
Yeah,
because I'm
of course.
noticing, oh, my left hand is slightly here and not here, and that's
Mm.
why I'm catching this way and not able to make this pass. But nobody else is going to be able to know. Like, it's such a slight thing, but I
Yeah,
feel it. I know it. Because, and if I didn't do that field session, I wouldn't have known that, you know?
Well, that's you're a high level athlete. That's an elite athlete talking, being able to do that and that self analysis. And I use a term when I talk to some students. I say you have to be able to listen internally.
Mm.
You gotta be able to somehow translate what the little niggly pulls and what those you have to. Gotta be a sound, and then you can use words. You can use sound words when describing movements. They have that internal listening skill. It's like all of a sudden you see that light bulb go off. It's like a click. But yeah, that being able to go, when you're alone, go on yourself and feel it out.
Mm.
What are you doing wrong? What are you doing wrong? Can you do better?
Mm. 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 I won't keep you too long, but this is fun. No,
No,
I like.
I'm good. I'm good. I got time, man. I got
No,
time.
I love. No, I do really love like hearing your perspective because I feel life from you, and I
I
mean that
love you.
honestly.
I'm talking about my past right now. Yeah, I love it.
Um, so you said you started a little bit later.
With
With boxing, you came into it like late
Yeah,
or.
I was middle, like my second half of high school. I think I was grade 11, grade 11 or grade 12 when I started. So I was like 16 maybe
Mhm.
when I had my first fight, 15 or 16. So still young, but again, a lot of elite boxers have records when they're like 9, 10, 11 years old. It's something they start when they're young. It's maybe in the family.
Mm.
So and I didn't have a lot of fights for how long I was an amateur. Like I
Mm.
was an amateur for over maybe like 6, 7 years, and I only had about between 50 and 60 fights. So for a career that long, some guys are having hundreds of amateur fights.
Mm.
But I knew going into it, I'm not. It wasn't I wasn't doing it as a hobby. It was like
Mm.
I want to be a fighter, and I want to be a fighter, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be better than anybody else. Like, stick with it, do it every day.
Mm. 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 And how? Cause I came into rugby late. So when I left, the last time I saw you, that's when I started rugby. So that's only like 3 years ago. Compared to
Oh no way!
yeah, so
You were American football before that.
yeah.
Oh right.
And so I started rugby from zero. So I came in it late like you. You know, there's girls playing since they're 5. You know, in New Zealand, these girls they come out. You see little kids. You know, back home, you see kids walk with
Yeah,
a
it's
soccer
part of the
ball.
culture. Yeah,
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 here they're walking around at school with the rugby ball. I'm like, what the
yeah.
heck?
Same when I go down to Mexico. Little kids, badass fighters, fast hands. Like they look like they've been doing it a lifetime already.
Yeah, you're like, what's happening? You know.
I know.
And I think for me it took a while. Also because I was, I'm blessed. Like I was put in such a high level environment right away, but that means everybody else is high level, you know. And it's great because that's the only thing I'm experiencing.
Of
But
course, you
also,
need it. You need it.
yeah, and then also at the same time, it's like I'm shit. Like, like, like I suck. Like, and I've been shit for like 2 years, and so um I kind of flipped the switch where it's kind of like, you go into a tryout, you go into a thing, you go into a competition period where you're like, oh, like they're better like I know they're better than me. But then recently kind of accepting it and just being like, actually, you know what? Yeah, you are better than me, but I don't care.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
don't care
yeah, yeah.
anymore that you're better than me, you know?
And I think that's a bit of fighter mentality too. It's like you have to like there are going to be equalizers. There are going to be dudes or a girl that this he's just bigger. He's just faster. He's just stronger. He's just better. He's just more. That is just life. Like that's just the truth. There's always somebody better off and worse off.
Mm.
It comes down to what are you going to do in the moment? What are
Mm.
you going to do when you have to make a decision? That's all you can.
Mm.
You start getting hung up on those like again in sports where kids are brought up in it. It's like could dwell on that, or I could just do it, take the
Mm.
risk to do it. Live your own story.
Mm-hmm. No, I respect that. I respect that. Is there anything that you've never been asked or anything that you wanted to share? Anything at all? Any thoughts on anything or anything recently that's come up on your mind? You don't have to feel like you need to rush or answer.
I feel like I touched on some things that have honestly been on my mind recently about training, sports, and athletics. I don't know. Maybe I guess just one more little bit for the right person's listening. Just the like it's again, it's cliche and it seems like it's kind of too obvious, but maybe it goes hand in hand with what you're saying about letting go and giving up, and they're two different things. But there's just such a there's such a quality to be found over time, not giving up. It sounds so simple, but like it really is something that grows inside you. If you just do fucking stick with something long enough, there grows inside you something that people just they cannot take it away.
Mm.
They can't. There are some qualities we have that can be kind of dimmed, and they might not be there on a given night. If you just don't give up, if you actually don't give up, there's something that nothing people can't take that from you. In a sport like boxing, it took a long time for the confidence I have now in myself as a boxer. Then even when I was like starting out, like I had a pretty fast start and knocking guys out early on, and people were saying things about me. I picked it up quick, and it's like, yeah, but I just didn't. I still inside, I didn't know. I wasn't sure, and I saw other guys just watching little kids who are like look like they've been doing their lifetime, but now all of a sudden I'm over a decade in, and it's like I can't take that away from. I'm a decade strong into this, day in day out. You can't take that away from me, regardless if I'm still not that good. I've been doing it for this. You can't take that away from me.
Making me emotional, Jack.
I got
you. You're hitting something. You're getting real personal, bro. You're getting real personal, bro. I feel that. I get that. Doing this shit since I was 9. I feel that. I get that. And there are moments where I'm like, I really could. Like, I really could. Like, I just wanted to run away. But I didn't. And so I think that's also why I respect you too, because I feel that from you. Yeah, so man, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it. I'm just gonna end the recording, but don't hang up, okay?
Okay.
All right.